I think I've been going about this the wrong way all along. I'm Melissa Keenan, CEO and owner at Coaching with Melissa Keenan, where couples and women create and manifest the marriage and intimacy of their dreams. And here's what I mean. I have beautiful clients, and I am not really giving you a glimpse as I come in here and do these lives about what actually happens in feminine intimacy coaching. Hey, Brianne. Hey, Shakina. So I want to break this down because there's a lot of women in this group. Here's what I found out. I post every week, and I apparently am very controversial. That is so news to me. I'm probably one of the least confrontational people that I know. I'm working on that right now, actually. But I post in here, and I found there's a lot of women who do not resonate with my message at all. There are a lot of, modern women, particularly women 30 and under, do not resonate with my message. But I have also found that there are a lot of really powerful women in here who love their marriage, who are devoted and committed to intimacy. And I want to speak to you. I want to speak to you, those of you who are in this group, who are building your business, who are deeply devoted and committed in both your marriage and your business, your work in the world. So I want to break this down. We want to live our lives in excellence. I am the kind of person who I do not settle for less. In anything that I do. I hate the feeling of playing small. Anybody else? Raise your hand if you're here and you're watching. You hate the feeling of playing small. Like the moment I recognize it, I'm like, no. Like I don't do that. And the kind of women that I work with are that way as well. So therefore you're not the kind of person who just wants to have connection in your marriage. Sometimes you want the two of you to be in flow, to be so in sync that it feels like you're dancing in and out of each other's souls all day. I want the best for me and my family. I love that. Exactly. Like we know, those of you who resonate with my message, you know that having a strong marriage, having that strong foundation, it's not just going to affect you and your happiness. It's going to affect generations, right? Like the ways that you heal in your marriage, do you know this? The ways that you heal in your marriage will obviously affect your children, obviously. But I believe it also affects our ancestors back and back and back. When we heal and we up-level parts of ourselves, we free ourselves from some of those messages, it actually heals our whole lineage. And heaven knows we need it. So I'm going to give you 3 principles. If you want the 3 principles, please type 3 principles in the comments. I love interacting here. So if you have thoughts and you want to share and you have a passion about marriage as well, and you want to share anything here in the comments, please share. You're absolutely invited to do that. 3 principles that a woman needs to step into and embody to really experience that fullness in her marriage so that it can spill over into every other thing that she does, into her business, into her work in the world, into her impact in the world, into her mission, into her kids, into her family, into her community. 3 principles, okay? And this leads right into that first principle when we talk about our ancestors. We have this opportunity. We have an opportunity like no one has ever had as women on the planet right now. Our mothers, they did not have the opportunities that we have to us right now. And so I believe even from the grave, even from the other side of the veil, they are pleading and begging and praying that we will be liberated in ways that they were not able. They weren't able. So principle number 1 is your true feminine identity. This is, you are a woman. You were born from women. throughout time, all the way back to Eve. And that DNA is in you. Their stories are in you. Their patterns are in you. Their problems, their faulty beliefs, all that is in us, and we get the opportunity to heal it. As we up-level and we succeed and we call in greater abundance into our lives and we impact people, we are healing our ancestors. And we are absolutely setting a new path for our children. Our feminine, our true feminine identity. Now, I trigger people like crazy with femininity. People all the time are like, what are you talking about? But I do believe it's connected to being a woman in some ways. I also believe feminine energy is just a principle, an ideal. But it is connected to me being a woman. I believe I have natural gifts and tendencies that fall into the feminine energy. And I want to lead in that feminine energy. And I don't want my husband to lead in feminine energy. I don't want him to do that. I don't want him to be me. Do you? Do you want him to be you? I've had women say that to me before. Or they've said, I'm so in bliss now. I married the male version of myself. That would be not fun for me. I would not like that. So we get to step into true femininity, which means breaking apart all the stereotypes, stepping away from whatever it meant in the 50s, stepping away from what it means in the feminist movement, and really identifying in this core way, this spiritual way, coming to your God, to your maker, to your universe, and saying, I am a woman. What does that mean? And how can I be in the feminine energy? How can I allow the feminine energy to lead through me? That is principle number 1, your true feminine identity. And it is absolutely connected to your ancestors and to your lineage. We get an opportunity to heal all that stuff from our past and from their past. What a gift, right? I have had sacred opportunities where I have had my ancestors come to me. And when I heal those resentments that I've had against them, those wounds, those things I face, some of those things, I can feel their liberation. And I want that for women everywhere. I want that for you. Why is that so crucial in a marriage? Well, again, because if we are showing up in our masculine all the time in our relationship, and our husband is showing up in his masculine, guess what's going to happen? We're going to fight. We're both trying to take up the same space. There has to be a dance, an ebb and a flow. And if you're a powerful business owner, you probably have a really strong masculine energy. And that's great. If you didn't, you probably would suck at business. It's just fact, right? You have a powerful masculine energy, but we get a little confused about then how do I show up authentic? Who is the real me in my relationship? Because it's causing a lot of conflict, right? So we get this sacred opportunity again to heal, to step into our true femininity so that we can create that balance in our marriage. Okay? I would love to hear your thoughts. I swiped away the comments here for a minute, but I want to hear your thoughts. If marriage is important to you, if femininity is important to you, if these things are resonating with you, share with me. I want to hear what you have to say about this stuff. Yeah, it could cause conflict, right? And we can fall into this in the most subtle of ways. But if we don't keep ourselves grounded and rooted back into that feminine, back into our truth, it will begin to corrode and eat away at our marriage, which ultimately has huge consequences, right? So the flip side of this is if we don't do this feminine stuff, if we don't take the time and we don't go inward and we don't listen to that call, we're going to end up with disease. We're going to end up in divorce. We're going to end up with our kids super confused about relationships. Look at the world right now. Kids are confused about relationships. I want to be a stand for relationships. I want my kids to know how a successful marriage can actually function because they saw it, they witnessed it, they felt it, they tasted it every day of their lives. Don't you? It means a lot to me. It's important. So, principle number 2. Principle number 2. Who's ready for principle number 2? Put 2 in the comments. I want to see who's here. Principle number 2, for a woman to really step in to deepening and perfecting her marriage, perfecting that intimacy in her marriage, is sensuality. I've talked about this a little bit in some of these trainings, so if you've been listening to me, you've been watching me, you've heard little bits and pieces. But sensuality is so key. And I am not talking about the sensuality that you think. I am not. We have no idea. Like, the true principle of sensuality has been so convoluted and twisted up, and we think of, right away, we think of Cosmo, we think of porn, we think of low-cut dresses and luring, and it's all like complicated and messy, and maybe it's a trigger for you. Because like, well, wait a minute, actually my sex drive is low, or my sex drive is high and my husband's sex drive is low. And so this is kind of a trigger word for me. This is not what true sensuality is. True sensuality is your gift. Women everywhere. And I'm a stand for that. It's your gift. And it doesn't have anything to do with red lipstick and high heels and sexy outfits. Those can be part of it. Those can be fun. But it has more to do with you being inside of your body, being inside of your senses. And I'll read this definition. I'll share this definition over and over because the world needs to know this. True sensuality, you ready for this? It's experiencing pleasure through your senses. And in this busy, fast-paced, progress, achievement-oriented world that we live in, especially as business owners, we lose that. Do we not? We lose that. I want to give you a little taste of that. Right at the end, we're going to do a little taste of sensuality. I want you to experience it in your body. Experience what sensuality is, that you can turn it on like this. And again, nothing to do with sex, nothing to do with sensuality. Leads to beautiful experiences of sex and those pinnacle moments where we get to experience so much pleasure with our partner. And that is amazing. That's like the fullness expression of sensuality, right? But we can be in sensuality, in our true sensuality every day. And it's about connecting with our bodies. This beautiful gift of wisdom that we've been given that changes and ebbs and flows and, looks one way one year, looks totally different the next year. It's a gift. It's a tool for us. When we tune into our senses and we pursue the path of pleasure through our senses, it opens us up to worlds of possibility in our marriage. Okay? True intimacy cannot be experienced without you claiming your sensuality. Okay, principle number 3. Who's ready for principle number 3? Type 3 in here. I'm going to check these comments. Crystal, hi, thanks for watching. Hi, Thado. Hi, Marissa. Awesome. I'm glad you guys are here. Okay, principle number 3. For you to experience that fullness, that perfected intimacy in your marriage, is understanding what true intimacy is. True intimacy is an embodiment of intimacy. It is actually being intimacy. And that is what I must stand for. So if I've ever messaged you, I've ever gotten in your inbox, I bet I made you uncomfortable because I go straight for the heart. Things like candor are super important for intimacy. Transparency, super important. Vulnerability. I trigger people like crazy in this group. And it's because I post vulnerable stuff like I used to think something was wrong with me because I had a low sex drive. People get so mad at me for sharing that stuff. But guess what? I've been in enough conversations with women to know that this is what we're all thinking. We're all doing this stuff to ourselves. So let me trigger them all. It's okay. It's okay. True intimacy, I define, and I didn't come up with this. This is something that people are beginning to wake up to everywhere, is intimacy. It starts with seeing deeply into myself first. How can I possibly see into another person if I have not gone to those depths within myself? If there are parts of me that I'm afraid of, I cannot see those things in somebody else. So when my husband comes to me and admits, like, I'm not perfect and I'm actually not on a white horse today, if I haven't gone to those depths within myself, I am going to shame him. I'm going to criticize him. At best, I might just try to fix him. There's no way I'm going to be able to actually empathize with him or actually accept that there are times my husband is in feminine energy and love that deep connection that we can create, right? We have to be able to go into those places within ourselves. And so many women are lonely. One of the number one searches on Google for marriage is, I feel alone in my marriage. Some version of, what do? I feel lonely in my marriage. Alone in a marriage. People are typing these things into Google. Number one searches. So here's the thing about that. If we have not gone to those places within ourselves, how can we possibly allow another person to see into me? I can't. Because I have walls up like crazy. I'm scared. I've been through trauma. I've been hurt. I've been victimized. I don't trust people. All that stuff is there, and it is keeping me on the inside of a wall by myself. So no wonder I feel alone in marriage. And I'm not saying this to shame you. I am saying this because there is hope and healing on the other side. There's hope and healing on the other side. And if you don't believe me and you think, well, what the hell do you know? What would you know about it? My book is launching this Sunday. Come follow me on my profile. I'm in a multi-author book, and I have one chapter where I go into the depths, you guys, about how we can take those experiences that happened in our lives where we thought we had to wall up, and we can break those walls down, and we can bring forth our inner queen and shine through those things. That's how we create true intimacy. So the 3 principles again. Number 1, your true feminine identity. Number 2, true sensuality. And number 3, true intimacy as a way of being. So that everything that I do, I'm close and connected. I even have conversations with my walls. I believe that there are particles of life in my walls, and I'm grateful to them. And if I don't have a good relationship with them, the vibe in my home is off. I do the same thing with the plants outside. And obviously I treat my loved ones this way, right? I feel deeply connected. When I lose this, that's when I start being impatient, treating people like objects, getting upset that people aren't meeting my expectations, blah, 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 blah. True intimacy as a way of being, it's everything. It's everything. And I think the last thing I want to say about that is that we think, oh, I put my relationship with God first. I hear Christian women say this all the time. I am a Christian woman. I'm very, very spiritual and religious. I say both of those because they're kind of two different things, right? So we say all the time, I put my relationship with God first. Well, guess what? You can only be as close with God as you are with those in your life. What we do anywhere is what we do everywhere. So if you're resenting your husband, I can guarantee you're resenting God. If you're feeling victimized by your husband, I can guarantee you're feeling victimized by God. Maybe you don't see it yet. But intimacy as a way of being is so deeply important to me. And where did that come from? It came from actually my desire to be so close to God. And then I realized, oh my gosh, this is transforming my whole world. This has transformed my marriage. I need women to know about this, which is why I now offer a high-end, high-level coaching experience for business women who are big impact leaders. I want to work with the women, and I work with the women who are big impact leaders in the world, because I want them to take these things, this way of being, and go and heal others with their way of being. That's why I do what I do. So if this resonates with you and you're thinking, you know what? There are pieces she spoke to here that I want to understand. I want to up level in those ways. I want to invite you onto a call with me. a quick 15-minute call. I call this my intimacy catalyst call. We'll look at exactly what you're experiencing right now. We'll look for any little gaps in what you're thinking, what you're believing, maybe pieces where you need healing in some of these ways, these 3 pillars that we talked about. Everything is possible for you. Everything. Whether it be sex, whether it be money, whether it be with your husband, communication, he won't change, whatever. You can have the fullness of what you want. Thank you guys so much for watching. And again, if you are the kind of person who, hi Rosie, thanks for popping in. If you're the kind of person who's deeply committed to your marriage and any of this has resonated with you, I would love for you to get into my inbox, private message me. Let's talk about it. I also have a Facebook group called Women Manifesting Intimacy. It's the one place on the planet where high-level women can come in and talk about how we're devoted to our marriages. It's a beautiful space. Would love to have you there. Also speaking about, being in that feminine energy space, all the things I just talked about today. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.